Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is a before look. I'm not going to film the work because it'd be difficult to get the camera anywhere to be able to see and I'll be in the way, but I just thought I'd lay out the plan. I'm not doing it today, it's getting too late in the day now. Now, this bit round here, there's something wrong with it. Things have failed in that area, and then as you come in here it starts to grow again. It's difficult to know why. So planting more stuff in there is probably not the best of ideas. But what I thought I'd do is get my garden fork and fork it over, loosen it, and just see what happens. Got a load of seedlings here that I don't know what they are, so I'm just going to try not to disturb them. All of this ivy I'm going to try and take out. You can see it's running all along there. The fuchsias are now coming into growth. They may be separate plants, I'm hoping they are. They're going to get dug out, and I have an idea what to put in here. Those lovely red geraniums that stayed in the grow room last year, I want outside, and because they can't stay out, if I plant them in the garden I've got to dig them up again. But what I could do is bury the pots. That way, when we head towards the winter and it's threatening frosts and everything, I can just lift the pots out and bring them back in the grow room. So that's my plan for that. Nothing to do here really, apart from keep my eye out for weeds. The wisteria, these long wispy bits, I'm going to cut back. Just so that it starts to shoot out. I just want to keep that rounded like that. Again, I'm going to try and get the ivy off the fence if I can. There's a bird table's in the way, but that's not staying there all year round. Right, now there are some weeds up in there that I need to deal with. At least I think they're weeds. I could let them go a bit more and see what happens. There's always a thing with, if you're not sure if it's a weed, let it grow. If you pull it out, you've lost the chance. I'm feeding the rose now. I'm hoping that's going to grow a bit better. We've got geraniums coming up now, and this fringe cup it's called. Now there's a foxglove there, there's a Californian poppy there, and behind it is a weed. That weed I must get out along with as much of this ivy as I can. We've got a few bald patches here, and we've got some ferns coming up. I have to keep my eye out for them because there were quite a lot of ferns in this area last year. You can see there's one here, there's one there, there's a hart's tongue there, there's another hart's tongue buried in there. Yeah, so there's a lot of ferns to come up. There'll be a lot of greenery from the ferns. And recently I noticed that. That's that lovely little primula that was there last year. That died right back. It's come back again. I thought the slugs were eating it, but that's the actual natural shape of the leaves. So we've got that. In there is a bramble. That's going to have to come out. Do without that. And then I've got another foxglove there, just about hanging on, and a bramble behind it that needs to come out. Now coming round here, this is a bit of a bare patch. There's a couple of ferns in here. There's some seedlings of the hellebores. They're going to form a clump there, but this bit's a bit bare, and so it's very good at growing weeds and ivy. The ivy comes in from next door. There's not a lot I can do about it. So I need to get more things planted here that are happy in shade. Things like violets. There's a lovely clump of violets there. There's another bramble there that needs to come out. My lily of the valley's coming up now, so that's good. This stuff forms huge clumps, and I'm wondering whether to try and get a clump of that going. But I haven't decided absolutely yet, but something needs to go here. Now I can always move the ferns. There's a couple of ferns I put in here to help fill this up. Well, they never will, but they could come out and come up here with some of the other ferns, leaving that a bit bare to put something a bit bigger in, like this. yeah, or a large clump of primulas. I could put in quite a few smaller plants that would clump up. That's a foxglove. So that's the work. This needs pruning to keep down to the height of the fence because it's getting out of hand again. So that'll need a prune. It's not a big job, but I do have to get the steps out to do it. And then we've got this. These are the plants I came back from the Orchid Society with from Helen. So we've got some more foxgloves. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 foxgloves to dot around. Now I wondered whether it's worth putting the foxgloves on the end here. They don't like a lot of sun, and it is shady up this end. It gets, in midsummer, it gets a little bit of late afternoon sun for about an hour. That wouldn't do any harm because it's getting weak by then. They'd probably do quite well there, and if this was forked over before planting them, they would also self-seed because they'd have some, you know, this is very hard soil here. It hasn't been dug ever, I doubt. So I might not necessarily put all of them, but some of them there. I want that full of something, yeah, so that it's otherwise it just grows weeds. It's like over here, it's all weeds. Plus we've got this, which is a lovely primula. Helen said it's a real deep pink colour, which you can see it probably is. I think there's 2 in there. There's 3 in fact. So those have got 4. There's a little one there as well. So those have got to be dotted around somewhere, up the shady end, up this end. In fact, probably a nice little space there, next to what's going to be a big fern. Yeah. That might be a nice space for a little group of pink primulas. And then we've got the bugle. I forget what its proper name is. A gula or a jula or something like that. I call it bugle anyway. Now I had a big clump of that in that corner and it completely failed along with several other things. Strange that there's something wrong there and yet the fritillary's made it. I don't know, there's just something not quite right there. Anyway, so that's the idea. I'm not going to film the work, I just thought I'd point out what I'm going to try and do. And then once that's done, there isn't much to do in this border at all. It's just let things grow. The only things I will have to do is, from past experience last year, the Michaelmas daisies that come up later in the year grow a lot taller than I was expecting, and they flopped over. Well, I've got plant supports this year, so prior to them getting too tall, I'll get the plant supports out and channel them so that they can grow tall but not be able to lean over and flop. I think some heavy rain knocked them down, something like that. And then all the rest of it can just thicken up until such time as it's so swamped that I've got to start digging stuff up and splitting it up, which will happen. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, sort of. So that's the plans. And a quick update for you. Those of you who saw me repot my Dishojo Mabel, it's coming into full leaf now. This is the back of the tree, by the way. The front of the tree is for me to look at out of the kitchen window, not for you. But yeah, it's coming into full leaf now. Gorgeous colour. And workload in the rest of the garden is not much at all. It's this bit is the gardened part of the garden, if you know what I mean. All the rest of it was getting some ground cover established so that we've got some colour instead of just bare gravel beds, which I didn't like. But I can't change the layout as such. I can't change the format of the garden. I can only plant things in it because it's not mine. Those don't live here. Those die. I don't dig the plants up, but I just make sure they don't flower. Otherwise we'll have thousands of dandelions everywhere. So, hello. Mojo's found a quiet spot to sit in. It's not exactly sunny out here today, but it's not cold. It's sort of pleasant. The breeze is just about going over the top of the garden. And we'll have a quick zoom in over here, because this is coming very soon now. A mass of wisteria all along the top of the fence. And what's going to be incredibly nice about it is quite a lot of it hangs over next door. Next door have never seen it. They haven't been here in the spring before. So they've got that to look forward to. They'll be able to see that from all of their rear windows and if they come out in their garden. So we can share that, even though the plant lives this side of the fence. It does its best to get over the other side of the fence, but we try and keep it in check. So there we go, that's the plans for here. Oh, there's one other thing. Under the table there's 3 tatty looking black pots, the contents of which one is dead and 2 aren't. They're blackthorn. So they're spiky bushes, but they're not bad spiky bushes. They're not like the pyracantha, nothing as bad as that, but they are thorny. Blackthorn, it's all in the name, you know. And what I thought I'd do is the 2 that are still alive, try and get them going in that corner, and then they can be trained upwards so that there's not a load of branches low down, but they come up and form a little bit of green against that shed. They're quite fast growers, and I thought that might, not shed, fence, duh. I thought that might be at least some leaves, and then obviously in future years, as they mature a bit more, we'll get the white blossom in sort of February, early March, which will be nice. And that's good for early bees and some butterflies, all sorts. I mean, the blackthorn in the hedgerows, some of it's still in blossom now, a lot of it's starting to go over, but it's April now. So the blossom was there for the whole of March. So that's the idea, is to try and utilise those 2 little pots of blackthorn and get them growing as just a pair of bushes to come up here and just be trained along that bit of fence. And then once the wisteria leafs up, that would be that fence panel taken care of. So we'll see how we go. And although there's a lot of fence showing here, the ivy, some people might say the green of the ivy is better than the bare fence, but it's not. It'll tear that fence to pieces. See, it gets in between the slats and it'll just force the slats apart. So it's just got to be taken down. Everywhere I can get at it, I will try and remove it. Horrible stuff. But yeah, a nice clump of wisteria, and there are several large ferns in this bit that will come up and hide an amount of the fence. Not all of it, an amount of it. So that's the plans, and yeah, I shall see how I get on. We're supposed to be having some rain this week. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. They keep saying that, and we often get to the state where, oh, that was it, was it? You have to run around to get wet. There's so few spots. But we shall see how we go. This border's coming on nicely now. It's filling out, it's thickening up. Different things will come into bloom at different times of year. We've had our spring flush now. The bluebells will hang in there for a while yet. But we've got lots of blooms yet to come, plus different coloured green with the ferns coming out and the different shapes of the fronds and everything. So yeah, pleased. Nearly all of these plants have been donated by people. There were a few already here, but not many. But yeah, Carol sent a couple of loads over in boxes from deepest West Wales, and Helen's given me a couple, you know, dotted around, and some more from Helen here to plant up. So yeah, been good. And the bird feeder, I will be stopping feeding the birds in the not too distant future, so the bird feeder will get out of the way and I'll be able to see this border a lot better. And then I need to think about the final placement for these for the bonsai staging and things, because stuff's just put out of the way at the moment. I wanted these out of the sun. This doesn't grow well in the sun, and that's just been repotted, so that needed to come out of the sun. My other maples are coming into leaf. They would appreciate a little bit of morning sun, but I can't get any, courtesy of that. So the sun comes round here at midday, so the first sun that gets into this area is midday sun. Maples don't want that. But later in the day the sun comes round here, so it is possible to get some evening sun in this bit. But in the not too distant future, that huge big cymbidium staging is going to be here somewhere, and that blocks my view of this border. So, but they need the bright lights, and they do need some sunshine, so I'm going to have to sort them out as well, sort out a place for them. Anyway, noisy people are starting to shout and scream now because they're incapable of holding a normal conversation. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. My robin having a sing. And a chaffinch. And a blackbird in the distance. And kids playing. Playing's okay. It's the yelling and screaming I'm not so keen about. Mind you, a lot of that's the adults, not the kids. See you next time.